Shelley Rizzotti. Well, I feel like we're kind of back at square one with the dog park issue tonight. The instructions that I heard you give were to for Ms. Wilkie's department to get bids, but no areas are defined, and it's really hard to get bids when no areas have been chosen. To give notice to people in the neighborhoods around the areas, but there are no areas chosen. So it seems like what's going to happen from here is that the Parks and Rec Board is now going to have to come up with additional locations and then go through the same exercise of having community input to choose a location and then come back, and those locations may not be acceptable. So the process is kind of prolonged again. I mean, the one spot, the Johnny Carson Park South, again, is being utilized until 2017. So that would mean that even if a dog park were ultimately chosen to be built there, it wouldn't be built maybe until 2018, 2019, which is 5-6 years down the road. So I would ask that you give some specific direction so at least the Parks and Rec Board can have some discussions to help, narrow it down to spaces that you would accept and that bids could be gotten at that point, because it's still very elusive right now as to what Ms. Wilkie's department is supposed to do and how notice would be given when no area is defined. Thank you.
Council member comments responding to last public calls. Councilmember Talamantes.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. In regards to some of the confusion, I don't feel we're starting over. I gave direction to look at 3 sites, come back with numbers. Obviously, a couple of the sites have some challenges, like all sites have challenges. I'm more than happy to address the issue on Riverside Drive, ownership. I know that belongs to LA City, but I'm more than happy to address it with a couple of the councilmen. Go over there to Councilmember LaBonche and have a talk with him and see what really the timeline is for this pipe that we're talking about. We're talking about 6 or 7 years. I don't think it's going to start for another 10 years. I mean, I'm serious about that. But I would like to have the conversation with the people that own the property and get the straight scoop from them. Just like the site up at behind Horace Mann. There's a site directly behind Horace Mann that is owned by the school district. And there's a site that's farther down on the other side behind St. Francis Xavier Church that belongs to the city. We're not putting a building up on this property. We're not putting a structure. If the school district says it's not being, we haven't used it for years. Trust me, it's been years since that property's been used. And if they turn around 2 years, 3 years later and says, we need that property to develop it. Okay, so the fencing comes down that we put up, whatever modifications we, the city, made, but the land is there available for their use. It's not like we have to tear down a building. And I don't agree with the thing that we're starting over with, because, like I said, I respectfully disagree with our Parks Board, with their recommendation, but we're going to follow. That's going to be one of the 3 things, one of the 3 sites that we're going to pursue. And the results of those 3 sites are coming back to us for discussion, the council, for discussion. That's the way I look at it. So I don't believe we're going to square one. I believe we're starting. I believe we can get engagement from the community, more ideas than we have now today. Funding is a big question mark. I mean, that's going to be a big decision maker for us up here. Where's the funding going to come from? And if we can have that already laid out prior to our budget discussions, I think it'll be a healthier discussion for us and more receptive to the idea than if we don't have any answers as far as, well, you have to fund it all, City of Burbank. And I agree, taxes have been paid by the homeowners for years and years, but we have so many programs and services. We have Platinum service in Burbank. I'm very proud of it. I enjoyed it as I was growing up, all this Platinum service. So now the last 4, 5, 6 years, we've brought it down a notch to Gold service, and people are saying, why? Why are you eliminating this program? Why are you cutting back on this program? This service I used to have, how come it's only 3 days a week instead of every day of the week? We had to make some tough decisions as a council, as a city manager, staff. Do more with less. Because of the hard times, we've never lived. None of us have ever lived through these hard times that we just recently had. And then put that on top of the water situation. The worst water drought in our lifetimes. Everybody in this room. So we're dealing with a lot of issues, and I just want to, I want to do the best thing for the community, obviously. That's why I want to have some choices. I want to have, if you go with Plan A, this is going to cost you this much. If you go Plan B, it's going to be this much, and Plan C is going to be this much. So I don't feel we're starting over again. Unless somebody on staff tells me that we're starting over with, please clear me up, and I'll redirect my direction. Thank you.